coolest intros there. Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome to the Closing Beat. I'm Dustin Tibbetts, financial advisor with Jazz Wealth. We work with investors of all sizes. If you're saving for the long term, you're investing for retirement, whatever it may be, we want to be able to help you. One of the things that we do is we manage our own funds. We build and manage our own funds. We also post the performance on our website. I believe we're the only advisor to do that, which means you can participate in the investments. No expense ratios. You don't have to look through 12B1 fees or anything like that. You're actually able to just participate. We don't charge you for participating in our portfolios. And of course, if we could do something custom for you, we're willing to do that as well. Well, today is, oh, by the way, our real estate investment portfolio is now up and running as well. You could check out the performance of that in the history, see if it's something that may fit what you're trying to do. Well, what we do here is we go over the stock market, the good, the bad, and the ugly. We'll try to cover everything for you. If we miss something or you want us to take a look at something and see what's going on for you, happy to do it. Just keep in mind, can't give you specific buy or sell recommendations. Big trouble if we do that. So just for the records, if any regulators are watching, we don't do that, right? Never do that here. Just giving you what happened on the day. It is Thursday. You can see on the screen over here that we have the Dow lower by 74, the S&P 500 down 4. The Nasdaq, again, was the only positive market, but only by 3 points. One of the key things to take away, look far over there to the corner and you see the performance percentage-wise. Nothing is going on. It is a typical summertime slow trading environment, and that is very likely going to continue for the remainder of the summer. To prove it, let's go over to the charts. We'll take a look. Here is the Dow. I've been mentioning the volume at the bottom right here is slowly declining. That will continue, by the way, barring any major news or terrorist attack or some random thing we don't expect. Very normal for the summertime to be quiet, and it is showing that. So because of that, if we zoom in on the markets here, very slow and small pullback. We said yesterday we wouldn't mind, right? If the market's pulled back, it's sort of that normal breathing cycle of the market. Nothing goes up in a straight line forever. And actually, if you're a long-term investor in any stock, any market, any exchange-traded fund, any mutual fund, you do not want it to go up too far too fast. Here's a great example, right? Look from December all the way into the beginning of the year. Take all the news out of it. When a market or a stock goes up too far too fast, it will pull back. It is not an opinion. It is not a guess. It is a fact that it will pull back. How much depends on, this apparently has to do with some news there, but it depends on the stock individually and how volatile it is normally. Also, our class for our customers coming up on speed and volatility. What the hell does that mean, and exactly how do you factor it? We're going to cover that next week in Wine and Wealth for our customers. We do classes for our customers that are specific to them to help them with more details that we can't share here online. Anyways, you're looking at the Dow, so down a little bit on the day, not a big deal, nothing new to say there. The S&P 500 also down just a couple ticks. Nothing new to report there either. Like I'll say the same thing here. I would be perfectly fine if this started a multi-week pullback. Very slow, very calm, not to worry anybody. I think that'd be very healthy and necessary. The Nasdaq also sitting there pulling back just a little bit. You know, it was a small up day. We get it. But just not much to report. We call it Jell-O moving on a plate. If you missed that from the other day, if you put Jell-O on a plate and then you shake the plate, it really is directionless. It just kind of does whatever it wants. And so that's kind of where the market's at. Interestingly, we have the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq close to all-time highs, within 0.5% even after today's performance. The Russell 2000 was also positive on the day. That's just holding up at highs. You want a picture of a strong market right here. That's a strong index just sitting at highs, looking pretty sweet. Why has the markets moved higher here recently? If you're to take a look at something like the S&P 500, it's all earnings. Right? Earnings drives the markets. Good earnings means good stock prices. Good stock prices means the markets move higher. Well, we're basically done with earnings. We have some retail names yet to report, but earnings season's basically done. Until next quarter, it's basically a snoozer from here. So it'll all be Wall Street driven, independent stock driven, sector rotation driven. That'll be the news that you see, and maybe a few sprinklings of other things along the way. So that's pretty much your markets, all I got there. If we take a look around at some of the commodities, nothing on gold. It's sitting at 1,200 basically with not really much to say there. Crude oil continuing its weakness. Everybody's got its eyes on $64 a barrel. So if you're an analyst, you trade this, not an analyst. If you trade for a living, you are not near bullish on the price of oil, at least in the short term here, and that's understandable. If you look at volatility, we talked about volatility there yesterday. We've been talking about it a lot lately. It is drifting towards January lows. back here. Here's the beginning of January when nobody was scared of anything. This is where volatility was. It is slowly drifting down there. Today was a little bit of a positive day. I think it's very normal, right? You've got the markets that have had this push higher. You got people that want to just protect a little bit of fear in the market, but nothing too crazy. Normal, respectable fear is what I'll say. So not much to report there. Tesla back in the news. That continues to give back a lot of its gains from the other day. Look, if the guy says he can take the company private, he's got funding in place. Where is it? Let's hear about it. Tell us. Share some information with us. And he hasn't done really any of that. Also, the SEC taking a look into, not an investigation, by the way, just the SEC does this. They send out stuff to even people like me. They send stuff out just kind of questioning a few things that you're doing. Most commonly on our videos, we get questions every now and then. Hey, we'd like for you to sort of clarify what you meant when you said certain things in a video. Basically, this is the same thing, but with tweets. The SEC is saying, hey, we're going to give you a chance to sort of explain what you were thinking the other day when you tweeted that. And so maybe investors responded a little much for that. But the stock was down 5%. No real new news there. I don't have anything new to share. Dropbox was higher by about 10% today. Then they came out with their earnings after the close, and the stock is down a little bit, back down to 32, essentially erasing the day's gains. Almost, not quite. So Dropbox, everybody that bought going into the close for the day, they basically just took a loss on the day. So not a big deal there. We'll see what happens. They had a lot of good things to say. They beat on earnings. The CEO, I think, could do better with his wording. He was interviewed, and he didn't give a great argument as to why would people use a free service when, why would they pay for your service when they can use a free service? So that's crazy. Anyways, so that's what we have there. A couple other things we'll just go through real quickly. Nothing too exciting. Viacom higher by 6%. That continues to work its way out of the downtrend. The company reported earnings that beat expectations. Revenues were basically in line. Nothing too exciting. They didn't have the best guidance going forward, but the stock was still higher by 6%. Seems to be working its way out of the downtrend. News you may see in a headline. Spotify higher by 5% today. They are working with Samsung. So if you have Spotify and you use that service, you're now able to use your Samsung devices, your TVs, your new $1,000 cell phone that apparently they're going to do, or they have now, and then that Amazon speaker. You'll be able to just really easily dial up your Spotify, listen to your music, and I don't know, do whatever you do when you listen to music. Cruise lines, a little bit higher today. I'm sorry, that's not cruise. NCL. What's the symbol for that? They changed it. Oh. Norwegian Cruise Lines reporting or higher by 4% on the day, and all the other cruise liners higher with it. Norwegian Cruise Lines beat earnings. They guided higher. They're saying everybody's going on cruises. Everything's great, so they're all happy there. And so because of that, you have Carnival Cruise Lines higher 1.25%. And everybody likes Royal Caribbean. That one was up by about 3% on the day. Other news, Campbell's Soup. There we go. Campbell's Soup almost up 1% today. They basically agreed to sell themselves. The problem is they can't sell themselves. If you look at this company, it is expensive. So very hard to find a buyer at current prices given their fundamentals. If you're interested in that sort of thing, take a look. Normally when a company says they want to sell themselves, people get excited. They want to buy the stock and see if there's some arbitrage there. Not going to happen on Campbell's Soup, in my opinion. I think the stock is way overvalued. The company, no good. Too much money. It's like buying a house. Every other house in the neighborhood is selling for $300,000, and then the guy on the corner says $550. You're like, what? How do you get that number? Well, they think they can. We'll see what happens. In the Dow, your weakest performers today are Procter & Gamble. Your consumer staple stocks continue to take a little bit of a break there in the midst of a very strong uptrend, so no real concern. Goldman Sachs down a little bit today, and Chevron also because of energy prices. The leaders, DuPont, continuing to try to break above the 200-day moving average. You had United Healthcare, brand new highs. Read the scroller at the bottom. But United Healthcare at new highs despite some of the news that came out today. Nike and some of the retailers higher today. Let's go through a few of them real quick in case you're a retail-oriented person. The best out of your best performers in the S&P today, you had Michael Kors. Remember that breakout from yesterday? That's what you want to see right there. If you're a technical trader, that we said, it didn't really close yesterday, breaking out, so it leaves a little to be desired there. Today, they put the nail in the coffin. Strong breakout for Michael Kors. And then as we work your way through, some of the usual leaders, at least lately, you got Under Armour pushing a little bit higher. Nordstrom's 2% gain on the day. Retailers strong into earnings. You got Best Buy. Here's Best Buy on the screen. Also trying to break out. Kind of looks like Michael Kors, doesn't it? Macy's sitting at highs. Retail looked like it was getting a little toppy there for a while. So if you're a bull on retail or have any retail exposure, you're actually pretty happy with that. Looking good. The question is this the rally into earnings? Are they going to sell it into earnings? We'll see. Foot Locker higher by 1 1/3%, and Dollar General, Dollar Tree also higher, following through with the last couple days worth of moves there. How'd I do? Hopefully it helped you in some way. Doug says, what for I say no to keep my Social Security benefit? I can't job. Oh, we need to work on our typing, Doug. I'm not sure what question is there or if there is one. Do you know what influenced Yelp to rally so high today? Yelp was earnings. We talked about this yesterday as they reported earnings after the close. Let me figure out how to use a keyboard and we'll see. There you go. So Yelp, when they reported earnings after hours yesterday, we were talking about it starting at the 200-day moving average. It started the day even stronger. Strong revenue, strong guidance, strong ad sales was the results from that, from their earnings report. And, well, that's a recipe. I don't know for a recipe for 26% gain on the day, but if you own that stock, you're not complaining, are you? Nice. Well, that's all I have for you. We'll wrap it up there. We'll be back to, we're not going to do the Dow Show tomorrow. Maybe we will. Well, either way, usually every day we do the Dow Show. 1 o'clock, stuff to go over your money. We did a good one today. We did a real good one today about how the government is spending your dough. You might want to check that out if you live in New York, Texas, or collect Social Security, or are thinking about collecting Social Security. A little different story there. But otherwise, we'll do the closing beat every day. We'll wrap you up to tell you about how the markets did. Do you think Elon Musk faces jail time? No, he didn't do anything wrong. There's no official rule that he broke there, in my opinion. Now, we could go all Obama about it and be like the spirit of the rule was broken. But no, I don't think he does jail time at all for that. I think he loses a lot of credibility if he doesn't have the financing in place, because he said, his words were, have the financing ready, right? So if that turns out to be false, that's kind of like, whoa, wait a minute, could we argue some kind of manipulation there? But nah, I don't think it's a problem. We'll see what happens. I wish him the best. We'll see how that goes. Anyways, enjoy the rest of your day or evening. If I've helped you in some way, hit the subscribe button if you want to get notified when these closing bell alerts go live so you can ask your questions. Hit the little bell next to the subscribe button. That'll do the trick. And we'll talk to you soon.
Why should you choose Jazz Wealth as your retirement or long-term investing service? Our portfolios are managed by us, not some faceless mutual fund manager. Our private classes will teach you everything about investing and getting your dough straight. Best of all, our fiduciary standard means your best interest comes before ours.